Hi! um, this is going to be my first video. I don't know if this is going to go well or anything. Um, uh, that's it. That's my intro. Woohoo. Um, Today, I'm going to be talking about something that Channel 7 decided to post. They did a spotlight on detransitioning. Well, they called it Breaking the Silence, the Reality of Detransitioning, but it mostly focused on hormone blockers for children. The thumbnail on YouTube says the gender agenda, so I guess they just couldn't make up their mind, but you know it's fine. Maybe they called it something else on when they edit. I don't know, but on YouTube that's what it's called. So if you don't know what Channel 7 is, it is a fairly popular channel, the news channel in Australia. Before, they have been called out for spreading misinformation on their news segments. For example, when they were talking about tampons and the study on tampons, they got their information wrong because they got it from a different place. They got the information wrong, and they just didn't bother researching it for some unknown reason. 3 months ago, they released a spotlight episode with the Breaking the Silence, the reality of detransitioning, or the gender agenda, whichever one you want to call it. In the episode, they ask the question if hormone blockers and gender clinics are bad for children. Before I talk about that though, I think it's really important to talk about the harmfulness of this kind of stuff, considering that they do leave some pretty important stuff to know about gender clinics and hormone blockers out, and they also blatantly lie about hormone blockers. It, to me, feels like blatant propaganda for trans people are bad, rah, kill all the trans people, because we haven't heard that before, right? In the intro, Channel 7 puts a series of videos from trans people. They failed to get permission for these videos, and they failed to even credit these people. To be fair, if they did credit these people, then it is very likely that people could go and spread hate to them. But these creators did speak up about it, and from what I could see, they only apologized to one Australian trans TikToker or influencer, whatever, who I actually like her stuff, so. I also do find it kind of interesting that the one person that they did apologize to is probably one of the bigger creators that they put in, especially in Australia. And to me, that feels like it's just trying to do as little work as possible to try and cover themselves, which is just silly and lazy, but clearly they're lazy in their researching too. One of the videos was a very clearly satirical video as to why people should be trans. I found it funny, but I find the video itself funny, and I also find it funny to put it in there in general, because I do have some trouble picking up sarcasm, but I could tell that it was clearly satirical. And I'm not trying to speculate on whether or not the people who put it together and decided to put it in, how well they can pick up satire, but I mean, they didn't for this. They never talk about these videos that they decided to show, and that can be particularly harmful with especially the satirical one, because I mean, if there's a lot of people like them who don't see this as satirical, they will probably be like, wow, what the fuck, trans people are so weird. They are so weird. They're weirdos. Yeah, we're all weirdos, guys. We're all crazy. We all want everyone to turn trans, obviously. We want a fully trans world. That is what we strive to do. That is clearly what we want. We definitely don't just want people being happy in their own body. A lot of things in this spotlight are meant to manipulate the viewer into agreeing with what they're saying, like the music, the wording, and the information that they just leave out, or the misinformation that they put in. This little thing makes me extremely angry every time I hear it. They claim that there's been a rise in trans people coming out recently, and listen, I just listen to me, okay? Look at me in the eyes. That is not true, okay? People were saying this back in 2016. People were saying this back in 2020. People are saying it now. I don't I don't understand the obsession with trying to say that there are so many more trans people now. And you know what? To their credit, that is absolutely right. There is a lot more trans people than there were like 50 years ago, or at least there's more openly trans people than there were like 50 years ago. And yes, of course, that is because of the internet. Because people can realize that they're trans from hearing other people's experiences. That is how I realized I was trans. And yes, that is because of the internet, because more people are sharing their stories and more people knowing what being trans is, what gender dysphoria is. And saying this also just completely ignores many historical trans figures and the many historical instances of trans people being in even some indigenous cultures. I find that really weird to just say, oh, trans people are just a 21st century thing, when it's not. It's just not. Back in the day, or 6 years ago, I just realized that it's been like 6 years. I used to watch a lot of trans YouTubers. Unfortunately, I used to watch people like Blair White and Kawangara. I used to watch Storm Ryan as well, and Caillou. I don't exactly remember what his YouTube channel was called, but yeah. And through hearing their stories and experiences, I realized I was trans. Not so much with Blair White or Kawangara. I mostly just watched them because I wanted to support trans people as well, and they were talking about things that I was interested in at the time. I do not align with their beliefs anymore. Because I am trans and this is about trans people, I think I should put my own story in here. So for about 3 years, I was identifying as a trans man. I think when I was about 13, I started the hormone blocker Leukeran, and I stopped it when I was 15. I think I realized I was gender fluid around when I was 15-ish, maybe 14. And I continued to take the hormone blockers until I was 15. I have not taken any other type of hormones since. I have tried birth controls, multiple different types of birth control, which I will say now have messed up my body more than hormone blockers did. My body's still not back to normal because of the multiple ways I tried birth control. Channel 7 thinks that because I was on hormone blockers and because I've just had the transgender in my just nailed into me for so long, I should be on testosterone right now, and I should be planning to get my top surgery, which is not true. I have no intention of going on testosterone. Also, I think I should talk about my mum's experience with me being trans. I don't know. But I'll say it. My mum was transphobic when I first came out. She didn't support me transitioning when I first came out. But after watching a video where detransitioners talked about their experiences, she realized that, hey, if this isn't right for me, it's not right for me, but I will never know if I do not at least try. And because hormone blockers are reversible, she thought it was, she was happy to take me to the gender clinic and for me to figure out what exactly I need. And through that, she learnt more about trans people and learnt more about the medical side of transitioning, and yeah, isn't transphobic anymore. Let's go on. I truly think that if I didn't go to a gender clinic and was on hormone blockers at that time, I probably wouldn't be here anymore. I was very depressed at the time, and didn't have great thoughts going through my head, because there was one other thing that I didn't really have to deal with too much. I felt better, and I was able to work on my mental health and work on myself a lot more and explore my gender identity and just who I am as a person. And I'm happy. No, I still have depression, but I'm certainly happier than I was back then. For some reason, Channel 7 thinks that taking puberty blockers is some sort of bus. they say bus, to fully medically transitioning, which isn't true. You can take my own experience from it, and I'm sure there's other trans people out there who have had similar experiences from me, and there's probably different detransitioners that have had a similar experience to me, because puberty blockers is really like one of the first steps of medically transitioning. Some people can't exactly tell just from puberty blockers that they may or may not be trans, but some people can, and it's a really good first step to know. It's important to note that HRT and gender affirming surgery isn't just accessed by trans people. Many cis people use these types of things as well. When I went to the gender clinic, they did tell me that there were cis people who also accessed the gender clinic, either because they may have started puberty too early, or they may not just have enough hormones to, like, their body doesn't produce what they need, essentially. And gender affirming surgery is a pretty broad spectrum of things, because it gives people what would be the stereotypical, I guess, gender norms things. I'm not trying to say it as a bad thing, I'm just trying to word it right and it's not coming out right. But Channel 7 leaves that out. Why would you leave that out? That's actually a very important piece of information to put into this type of thing, because it tells people this isn't just accessed by trans people. Because they want to push the idea that Australian tax dollars are paying for these gender clinics that are supposedly only for trans people, which isn't true. It's just not true. Like I said, gender clinics are accessed by cisgendered people as well, and that's it. That's all I gotta say on that. The reporter talks to 3 different detransitioners, Courtney, Chloe, and Mel. I'm not going to focus too much on their story. If you want to hear their stories, you are welcome to watch the Spotlight episode. But they are really sad. I'll admit, they are really tragic, and it's really sad that these people had to go through surgeries and stuff before they realized that they weren't trans. I do truly feel bad for these people, and this is why information on trans people and like gender identity is actually really important, and it's really important not to leave out information or put in misinformation. It's really important, because then people can do their own research, do their own soul searching, and figure it out. They go and do these things. But one little thing that I didn't like about the detransitioner segment is that Chloe is not from Australia. She's American, she's from California. And her story is very tragic, and I do feel really bad for her that she had to go through all this, and now has to use her own money to detransition. But hey, Channel 7, I don't know if you know, but you probably do because you're the one who made this. We're focusing on Australia. Just think California, America. They flew to America to do this. You see what the problem is there? Because we're talking about the things happening in Australia. They also decided to interview some transphobic parents. June and John are parents of a person who is transgender. The child refused to be in this and doesn't even talk to their parents anymore. And I find it really funny that they can't be bothered to try and mend the relationship with their child. Well, they can't be bothered to try and, educate themselves. But they can be bothered to go on television and misgender their own child. They have this victim mentality when talking about everything, and it's just really frustrating to listen to. I watched this thing with my mother. I watched this thing with my mum, who was transphobic and now is not, and she did not like them either. She is a perfect example of how easily it is to educate yourself on this type of stuff, even if you're not trans. The child started identifying as a man at school, and they found out through Facebook, I believe. Because of their lack of support, their children have stopped talking to them. They refuse to learn, and they think that it is all their children's fault. Yep, it's definitely not your bigotry. It's the transgender. Channel 7 decided to try and talk to gender clinics about their patients, and I think someone probably should have just straight up told them what doctor-patient confidentiality is. They claim that these gender clinics are purely there to treat and assess children into changing their gender. Oh, sorry, no, changing their sex! What I'm about to say has probably been said 1,001 times over and over, and now I know I've said it quite a lot in my life. But gender and sex, not the same thing. Gender is a social construct. It was literally made up by us. Sex is what you were born as and what you're assigned at birth. You can be male, female, or intersex. And gender is a spectrum. Gender is a social construct. We made it up. And it means fuck all, actually, in reality. Hormone blockers don't change your sex. Estrogen and testosterone don't change your sex. The only thing that could really change your sex is getting a fucking sex change, which, surprise, surprise, gender clinics don't help children do. They don't fucking do that shit. Just do your fucking research. Just use common fucking sense. That's all I ask. Please. I've heard this shit said over and over and over the years. Dr. Gillian Spencer is a child psychologist at Queensland Children's Hospital, which is, funnily enough, where I went to go to the gender clinic, because I live in Queensland. She claims that there is no evidence to support that social transitioning and taking hormone blockers decrease suicides in trans people, which isn't true. I found a study, because I did 1 second of fucking research. It's a study from the University of Melbourne. It's not exactly about this exact thing, but it's about how trans people in COVID-19 reported higher suicidal thoughts and suicidal ideations during COVID, when they can access gender clinics and get the care that they needed. She also claims that doctors are forcing kids to be trans. Love. Could you explain to me what the fuck their incentive is for doing this? I'm genuinely interested in this. Why? Why would people want, why would doctors want children to be trans? Why? I can't think of a single reason. There isn't even a money incentive in gender clinics for them to fucking do this. Channel 7 also has a little debate with a professor from Sydney University, Dr. Ian Hickey. I love Dr. Ian Hickey. He is my favorite man. He's supportive of trans people, and yeah. I don't really have a lot to say about this debate because it's kind of just going over the same points from before, and there's no point me going over that again. And once again, if you would like to watch the Spotlight, I will link it in the description. Probably fucking no one's gonna see this video, but I will put it in there if you wish to have a little look. Trans people in Australia and across the world generally have higher suicide rates than cis people. And once again, with my 1 second of research, I have a study. It's not that hard to look up. I did the Australian suicide rates because once again we're talking about Australia. That essentially wraps up the Spotlight episode, and I feel really disheartened by this kind of stuff because it can affect trans people in real life. Not too long after it was done, I was in a hairdresser's and I overheard some of the ladies talking about it, and I just felt really uncomfortable. I am very blessed and lucky to be able to pass off as a cis person, but that is not the case for all trans people. And it's really scary to kind of hear that kind of stuff because you have no fucking idea what will happen. I didn't say anything at this time, but I just felt really uncomfortable, and I was very happy when my haircut was finished. In the end, this kind of stuff is really hurtful and harmful for trans people, and if you want to do, and no one from Channel 7 is going to see this, but on the very rare chance that they do, I just have to please do more research into your shit. Just please do more fucking research. It is really not that difficult. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe. I don't know how many people are gonna see this. I ramble a lot and is not gonna be fun to try and cut down. If there happens to be anyone watching this, give me a like if you liked it and subscribe. I don't exactly know what I want to do with this channel yet. I want to post commentary videos, and this is a kind of serious one, but I also do, I would also like to do just like the little internet drama ones, so I don't exactly know what to do. Share this video. This is going to be my first video on here, and I don't think it's going to do very well, but I'm trying. Bye!